Alright, hey everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 446, or Season 3, Episode 29, and this is the final one before we're caught up, and I can just do these, like, chapter by chapter again, so long as I don't get super sick again, at least, but here's hoping that doesn't happen. So yeah, either way, let's talk about 446. We just ended with the Kells Susanoo of the chapter before this, and we have some more combat. We have a bit of a not really new power up. It's not really new, which is why I'm cool with it. I'll just get that out of the way first and foremost. I'm cool with Bom's power up here because it's something that we've already seen him have, and he's like sort of applying a new thing that he got to a thing that we already knew about. There is one little misgiving I have, and I saw other people in the comments saying the same exact thing on the reaction. But I'll get to that when I get to it. Let's start from the beginning, though. So starting from the beginning, while they're sort of in the maelstrom of Doom's ability going off, as well as having just the weight pressing down from the sheer power of Kelhelm's ability, which I love. I think it's really cool to see his power pressing down on everyone. Bom explains what's all happening to Khun really quickly. Rak then, we have a cool scene where we specifically see that Rak is seeing the Kells Susanoo and wondering about it, which again is cool. It's sort of reminiscent of when he saw Kells flames for the first time. I like that he's taking notes of that, and I'm so interested in what Rak's eventual Susanoo could possibly be. Now, here's the thing. The Susanoo itself could be a representation of the ancient itself. So let's say that what I was saying is true about Kells with my little theory that maybe Kells' master was an ancient, and we know that Kells said they used the power of the ancients, not that they're an ancient themselves. So maybe they fused the sort of body or flesh of their master into themselves or whatever, and that's the way that Kells uses the ability. And the was it an elephant? I'm pretty sure it was an elephant. The elephant Susanoo that we've seen before from Kells is sort of the representation of that ancient master. Maybe they were an elephant like Rak is an alligator. I combined elephant and alligator in my brain there. So maybe they were like an elephant person, sort of how Rak is kind of an alligator person. So then Rak wouldn't necessarily have a Susanoo like that. They would just sort of be a giant, powerful alligator. And maybe they can access an even gianter, powerful alligator form or something. But there's always a chance that Rak could have his own Susanoo. And that would, of course, mean that just like Kells, Kelhelm isn't an actual ancient. He's just a person that's somehow using the ancient's power, which I think is kind of likely. Anyway, I think it's kind of likely that he's just using the ancient's power. He's not an ancient himself, just because, I don't know, his appearance to me doesn't make me feel like he's an ancient himself. All the ancients we saw were like, Hess and his brother were like not pure-blood ancients, and their bodies weren't necessarily human-ish. And then Rak, of course, his body isn't necessarily human-ish, and he's the only pure-blood we've seen that we know of. So I would guess that Kelhelm isn't an actual ancient. He's just like Kells using an ancient's power. But either way, Khun mentions, this cow looks like Kells' power, and it made me wonder what the hell does why does Khun know what Kells' power looks like? He was asleep for all of last station. But there's a lot of ways to explain that away. Somebody could have told him what it looks like. There could be video of it that they could show him on the lighthouse or something. It just seems weird that Khun himself said that when he was asleep for that arc. But there are ways to explain around it. So Bom then summons the orb and uses the orb along with his regular Shinsu capabilities to try to get toward Doom, but Doom's ability is just erupting out of him because of the pain he's in. We then get the Gato stuff, and the Gato stuff is hilarious to me, because we learned that Louis Gato's son, something that basically everybody has been theorizing from the beginning. The translation's kind of unclear with the heart transfer thing, so pretty sure Deng Deng's heart was transferred to Louis so that Louis could survive and live, and then Doom's heart was put into Deng Deng to be used for Kelhelm's purposes. Doom's heart was put into Dang Dang. Yeah, that's what I said, I think, for Kelhelm's purposes. But the translation is like, Dang Dang is the son of the person whose heart went into Louis. I I don't think that's true. I think that's an issue with the translation. Another thing that was kind of unclear is that Gato was like, so yeah, he took them to go and raise them in the cage, and shouldn't it be I took them to go raise them in the cage? Because Kelhelm wasn't raising them in the cage, Gato was. But Gato was like, I did all this so that I could live on as a father. I don't care if I'm a traitor to the canine people or a failure as a warrior. I'm going to be a father. Why is that his motivation? Because he was a crap father anyway. He screwed over Louis and Dang Dang like a bunch throughout their childhood and in this story arc. And he didn't really seem to care that much when Louis was necessarily missing. I don't know, it's very, very strange that that's his motivation when he's like already proven he kind of sucks as a father. Especially if Louis really cares about Dang Dang and he's like, ah yes, the plan is to kill Dang Dang. Or really, he could have just kept raising Louis and Dang Dang without doing this. And of course, Louis being weak would have meant that he could never rise to a high rank in the society. But he could have still lived on as a father and raised him without betraying Yama. So yeah, this being the reason that Gato did things is not exactly very good. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I found the whole Gato Kanzone scene really funny. Also, Gato sort of running off to Bom and Kanzone being like, man, I can't keep up with him, and just like not really making it there or whatever. So that Bom's going to be having this fight with Gato, and what's Kanzone doing in the meantime? Is he just kind of like taking his time? He wasn't really that far away. Or is he going to help Yama? No clue what's going on with Kanzone right now. Either way though, Rack throws the spear to create a path through Doom's power for Bom, which was really cool. I hope Rack gets to keep the spear after all this. And something cool that the blog mentioned about that is that this is the spear's, or maybe it wasn't the blog. No, it was the blog where they mentioned this is the spear's power when it hasn't even been, we haven't seen it ignite it yet. We've just seen people throwing it. Imagine what it's going to be like when somebody actually does ignite the spear. But he creates a power for Bom. Gato interrupts Bom saving Doom, or at least trying to save Doom. We don't even know if he can yet at this point. And I'm not going to lie, for as goofy as the Gato storyline was, and as much as I laughed at that, Gato looks like really cool in a lot of these panels. He looks pretty cool, not gonna lie. But he's trying not to hold back on Bom, but he keeps holding back on him anyway, because he's a softie, of course. So Bom then activates the transformation level 1 on the red Thryssa, which is really cool. There's an explanation given in the blog that, you know, Bom absorbed some of Doom's powers before when Doom tried to make him a canine person. Bom, I love seeing made the joke of, I know people wanted to see furry Bom and everything, or Bom with the ears and tail and stuff, but Bom can't actually, he's not a canine person, he can't transform himself, but because he absorbed some of Doom's power, as is Bom's sort of natural Shinsu quality that we've seen, he absorbs things. Because he absorbs that, he was able to, even though he can't transform himself, he was able to apply the transformation to the red Thryssa, letting him summon it in a physical form. Sort of, I guess, kind of like what Helljo was doing, but without it being an actual parasitic thing in his body. So, yeah, it's cool, I think, with me, because we already know Bom's powers to absorb things, and he's using transformation as sort of a new thing with a power, the red Thryssa, that we've seen Bom already has. Plus, we've sort of seen Helljo doing a similar thing with the red Thryssa. So it's not like this is some new thing out of nowhere, it's something that Bom has already had, he's just now learning to manifest it and control it in a new and different way. The only problem that they could have just left out one line and it probably would have been better, that some people even mentioned in the comments, is when Bom's like, boy, I sure could use a new power, and then bam, he gets a new power. Yeah, maybe they could have just left that one line out, because that does make it a bit comedic, but still. Then we actually get something cool that I didn't really understand in the live reaction. I was like, what on earth is this in the live reaction? And I think a part of that too is the translation, again, is not super duper clear on everything, but we see that a squadron of Zahard is about to attack this peaceful area. So I guess this peaceful area is a bastion outside of Zahard's empire. So Zahard's about to take over this little nation that's peaceful and outside of his empire. So we have a squadron of Zahard getting ready to attack it. And Kal Rahim, they're like, Kal Rahim, you're the leader of this place. Can't you do anything? And he's like, nah, we're going to wait for Kel Helm to save us with his army. So it's funny that Kal Rahim is like, nah, we'll wait for Kel Helm. But I like that this adds more depth into Kel Helm. Kel Helm has a reason that he wants to take the K9 people and use them as an army that isn't completely selfish. Kel Helm plans to come in with this army. He mentioned there was a battle about to happen soon. I thought he meant in more of a grand figurative sense. But no, there's literally a battle that's about to happen. Like it's commencing shortly. And Kel Helm needs the army of the K9 people to fight this battle, to fight off one of Zahard's squadrons, and save the peaceful area. So this actually makes me wonder, since we're getting this extra depth to Kel Helm, if Kel Helm is defeated, is he going to be like, okay, I'm defeated, but can you help me out saving this peaceful area? And are we going to get all of Bom's new allies fighting to save this peaceful area? Is that going to be potentially even the next arc? Or is Bom and his group going to say, okay, we need to go do this thing next, and while we're doing this thing next, maybe like Karaka, Yama, Doom, Paul, Kel Helm, they're all like, we're cool with you now, Bom, and they go off like away from Bom to give Bom and his group some time away from all the high rankers and stuff, send the high rankers off to fight this battle against the Hard Squadron to protect the peaceful area. That could be a good way to separate Bom from the high rankers for a bit. So I think that would actually make a lot of sense if that's where the story went next. But either way, this makes me think that either Kel Helm is going to end up becoming an ally in the end after all this, or Kel Helm could be defeated and killed, but in the end be kind of a good guy like, alright, I was defeated and killed, but could you help me out and do this thing that I was going to do? But yeah, that's where we end. I think it's cool that at the end here we get a little bit of reasoning behind Kel Helm's actions that aren't just sort of figurative, oh, there's a battle that'll happen at some point eventually in the future and we'll need him for then. It gives him like some real concrete reasoning, which is even better. But in the blog post, it was mentioned that the Gado, Louis, and Deng Deng story was trimmed down because there was just other stuff that was more important in the arc, and you can totally tell. You can definitely tell that it was trimmed down a bit, because some stuff in it just isn't totally the most completely coherent, and again, some of that might just be up to translation. Another thing in the blog is that CU says that Gado is probably the fastest character other than the super high rankers. So yeah, Gado's a speedy boy. Also in the blog I mentioned earlier is when they give the Thryssa transformation, it's that Bom can't transform himself, but because he absorbs some of Doom's transformation power, he is able to use the concept of transformation on the Thryssa, which he already had. So yeah, I'm cool with the new power-up. I thought the chapter was pretty okay. I thought it was pretty good in a lot of ways. We spent a lot of time on the Gado stuff, though, and I think that was definitely the weak point. I'd still give it 7.5 bad fathers out of 10, because I really like the stuff with, I like the stuff with Bom. I really do. I don't like it like a ton, but I like it, and I really like the stuff with Kel Helm. I really, really like that, especially the stuff at the end that I didn't really get in the live reaction, if I'm being honest. But it really gives us a deeper insight into what his motivations are. I really like that. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10. We spent a lot of time on one particular thing that I just didn't think was all that great, but all the other stuff I really liked. Like with Bom's powers, it was one of those things where taking some time away from Tower of God and then coming back to it to just think about things in a general sense, it seems like Bom keeps absorbing this stuff, and he has so much going on that it can be a bit overwhelming a bit to keep track of everything. But then when you think about everything, it's really not all that much. It's really just his base Shinsu abilities, which is like sort of the Ha Jinsung style stuff, the Yu Han Sung style stuff, like what he used here, that he's been training up on his own and training up under Evan Kell. his Blue Wars, just his basic Shinsu things that any wave controller can learn, but he has learned and has been working on. And then, step above that is his specific Shinsu quality, like we have Kun's specific Shinsu quality. Like, Kun only has 3 layers. He has, like, his basic light bearer techniques that anyone can use, his specific abilities with his Shinsu quality, which is his ice abilities, and then he has the piece of Aeon's flame that was given to him. So he has like 3 layers. With Bom, it's like his basic abilities, his personal Shinsu powers, which is his own power thing, which was once, I actually think it's kind of cool, it was, I think, like the sun that was used before was a metaphor internally for his own powers, where his own true power that the blue demon or blue Thryssa was talking about was this thing that to him was scary. It was uncontrollable, devouring things and burning them up. That to him was how he visualized his own power. It was this big, scary, uncontrollable thing, this sun. But then we see, once he goes through the rice pot training to find and control his true powers, once he goes through the training with the God of Guardians and with Kunedwan, and he gets into the fight with Dadazahard, he says, I need to view it in a different way. And once he sort of gets his he gets in touch with his sworn enemy, his jovial grace self, and sort of makes peace with that, he views his power in a different way. He views it as the line, and we saw the line again this chapter. He views it as something that he made, something that's his. Just that simple line, it's something that he made, something that belongs to him. So instead of being this huge uncontrollable sun, he now views his power as this thing that he made, something deliberate, which is sort of a really cool character growth and development thing for him as a character. And we see that his Shinsu, when he uses his like true Shinsu ability, it takes the form of the orb, and it takes on the colors, because we see different colors when different people use sort of their true Shinsu. So with Bom, we see that it's colorless and black, which I think is cool, and leads into the theory that it's because V had black Shinsu and because Arlen had the colorless Shinsu. And from there, above his sort of personal abilities, and the personal abilities are what allows him to absorb things, because of course they all have some sort of element or ability attached to them, with their Shinsu quality, and his is seemingly to absorb things, because especially when he uses that power, it breaks things down and absorbs them, like we saw against Dadazahard, etc., etc. Then we have the blue and red Thryssa, and then we have the thorn. So it's really kind of, I guess, 4 layers. The basic stuff, the personal stuff, the red and blue Thryssa, and then the thorn. And there's also the Black March, which I don't know if he still has in him. I don't know if he has it as a weapon now. That's the only thing I don't really like. I don't really want the Black March to be fused into Bom. And I'm not 100% sure that it is, or still is. That's kind of unclear at this point, actually. So yeah, it's like one of those things where it seemed like so totally overwhelming before, but given some time to think about it, and I had wanted to discuss this, so I was like, I can throw it in at the end of this video. When you really break it down, Bom only has sort of 4 layers of things going on. He has his base abilities, his personal Shinsu quality abilities, which include the orb and his true power and all that. Then he has the red and blue Thryssa. We don't know really what the blue Thryssa is or anything. It probably has something to do with how he was brought back to life as a baby, but we haven't really seen him use it as an actual ability or anything. It's just when he went into burnt chestnut form, he had the blue horn and the red horn. The red Thryssa we had only seen beforehand as the red thorn, but it gave him the ability to use Shinsu from a distance, or to congeal Shinsu from a distance, and also now we're seeing he's able to summon it physically using transformation as a medium to do so. So he's kind of using it in the way that Heljo did, but by a different method. So that's cool in itself. And then he has the Thorn, which he hasn't been using because of his training with Evankel. So he only really has those 4 layers of thing going on, really. So yeah, I guess that's it. I'm going to end the video here after like a full 20 minutes. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you did like the video. Comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. And I can keep you updated there on the channel or talk to you there. If you want a link to our Discord server, ask and I'll give you one. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, a link will be in the description, or it's patreon.com/HakuWithTheTubes, and it really, really sincerely helps. Yeah, I guess, is that fully it? Yeah, chapter was a 7.5 out of 10 if you didn't remember because it's been so long since I talked about the actual chapter. That's it though. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.